If you're a healthcare practitioner in private practice, then you're in business. And one person that knows business really well is Creel. Creel is a serial entrepreneur and the owner of Accelerate Global, a company that provides courses, coaches and mentors entrepreneurs in how to start, build and sell their businesses. Today we're speaking with entrepreneur Creel. Creel is passionate about helping entrepreneurs grow their business. Creel, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
It's a pleasure, Ty.
So Creel, when you have a look at your website, you talk about making business an adventure. Is business really an adventure, and how?
Absolutely, I think business is an adventure. Partly, I think part of the reason why I use adventure as a metaphor is a lot of entrepreneurs start a business without realising what they're getting into, and then realise the amount of obstacles they come up against. I mean, they're gonna. That's what business is about. If there's no obstacles, there would be no opportunity.
But sometimes I think starting a business, we're not aware of those obstacles. So what are some things that we should be looking for?
Well, I think you need to look at industry obstacles, you look at obstacles in your own lack of experience, and then you look at the particular business and what you're trying to actually execute on. And through that, you're going to find a myriad of different obstacles you're going to face.
And when we're thinking about starting a business, what's something that we should do to make sure that we're ready for these obstacles?
Well, I don't think you can ever be ready, but if you've got some basic knowledge of what you're up against, at least you're going in there with your eyes wide open. And then as each obstacle comes, it's your job to make a variety of decisions around dealing with them and hopefully getting through and beyond.
So we've started our business. What about growing? When do we know whether our business is ready to grow, and what are some of the first steps?
Well, there's lots of steps involved, but one of the things that we teach in the Accelerate program is there's a stage called the foundation stage, and that's where you get where you've actually cracked your business model, and it's from there that you can actually really expand the business, because you understand that you've got a product that someone wants to buy for the right price, and you can make enough money and you can actually execute on. So it's fairly simple sort of stuff.
And then after we've got that foundation level and that's going, what are some strategies to grow? Do we look at just getting more customers or getting more staff on, or?
Well, again, it depends on the stage your business is in and the industry it's in, but certainly sales is, a business without sales is no customers or clients, so it's going to be pretty tough. So I think I don't see entrepreneurs spending enough time in sales. I think that's a good tip to start with. But clearly they need to have the support and the operations that actually goes with that in order to be able to execute on behalf of their customers.
So the first thing is looking at making sure our operations are okay, that the things can run. The next thing is selling our business. How much time should we be looking at working on our business compared to working in our business? We hear it all the time, but is there a number, or? Well,
it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it, working on your business, but I think what we're trying to say there is you need to be strategic as well as you need to be really in the detail. And people that particularly come out of the corporate arena are used to maybe being very strategic and then letting other people do all of the hard work. But in small business, you've really got to juggle the two, and it's so easy to get sucked into this void where you spend all of your time doing the detail. And it's just really important, at least once a month, getting out of the office, making sure that you actually look back at your business and say, is this going in the direction I want it to?
And when do we know when it's the time to actually get people, like delegating some of those positions away that we might not be as good at, or something like that?
Well, I think it's sooner the better. Otherwise, the entrepreneur ends up holding every single job in the place, and that's no success in order to be able to grow the business. So I think generally sooner than later, but it's about giving people the opportunity to actually run with something.
And do we get ready to grow our business before we start, or do we know the end, or what do we do there?
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan about planning to the nth degree. So many people don't get into business because they're still trying to get their plan together.
Still planning it.
Exactly.
The world changes.
Well, within a month of starting their business, they'll throw the plan out and that's a whole new plan required. So that's where the whole adventure thing comes back in, is as long as you've got a basic idea of what you're trying to execute on, you just got to start, and what will be will be.
And when you talk about adventure, can business be fun as well?
Well, I find adventure massively enthralling, but I think the game of business can be really fun for people that approach it like an adventure. That you are going to have obstacles, that you are going to have some things happen that are, is going to want to make you cry sometimes. But that's the same reason why people climb mountains. It's not because it's easy. Otherwise, there might be an elevator to the summit. That's why people do adventure things.
And when we're looking at growing our business with certain stuff, how do we pull back from the business? When do we know when it's time to exit it? Or
yeah, well, I think there's two things to consider when it's the right time to start considering a succession plan that will then lead to an exit. And the first is when you start growing out of the business, when you start getting a little bit bored. You might have been there for 5 years, it's the same old, and you can't see yourself being there long time. So that's one thing. The second thing is sometimes a business will grow out of you.
Yeah.
Oftentimes entrepreneurs are really good at the early stage of a business, but at some stage they need to hand over to someone that's a little bit more organised potentially to actually take it to the next level. So it's either one of the business will grow out of you or you'll grow out of your business.
And how do we get our business, ready to sell? Like, what are the types of things that we need to have, that we might need to think about before it's actually ready?
Well, yeah, I think unfortunately entrepreneurs think way too late about an exit plan. So it's a little bit, again, if we use the adventure example, it's a bit like climbing a mountain. A lot of people think the reason why, the goal of a mountaineer, for instance, is to get to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
But it's actually not. It's to get to the top of the mountain and then back down safely.
Yeah.
So I think anyone in business needs to realise their job is to actually start the business, but ultimately to exit it. So to answer your question around what are some of the things, succession is really important. You can't sell a business very easily if you haven't actually thought about what happens after you've sold the business. What's the succession plan? How will this business run without, the main person in the business?
And you've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs and budding entrepreneurs. What are some things, not that they do wrong, what are 3 things that successful entrepreneurs do right?
Well, I think they've got a really good ability to make decisions, and it's not being too fast at making decisions, but it's not being caught in the headlights and not being prepared to make decisions. So that'd be probably the first one. I think sales and relationships is so important in business. If you're not good at working with people and selling yourself and selling your business, that's not going to work. So the people that I find the most successful in business are really good at that. And thirdly, I think it's people that actually understand how to look at opportunities and being able to exploit those opportunities through business. So looking at a potential niche and being able to capitalise on that.
And your company, Accelerate Global, runs seminars, and you and your business partner Rowdy do coaching and consulting. How do we know what's the right support that we need as a health professional when we're trying to grow our business or exit our business or start a business? How do we know whether we should be doing seminars or formal courses or coaching?
Sure, well, I suppose one of the things that I have passion around is how do we give more information and knowledge and support to entrepreneurs in a short period of time, because most entrepreneurs are really time poor. So I found in my business...
Can't sit in a course for like 2 weeks or something.
Completely. So the whole Accelerate program, even though we're trying to accelerate people's businesses, we try to do it's accelerated learning actually. How do we do a very intensive seminar at the start of that? But more than anything, the power of our program is our mentoring and our executive coaching that goes with that in order to support entrepreneurs through these tough decisions.
Because I find sometimes you go to a seminar and you're so hyped up and you're ready to do something, and then you come home and the realities of your business come in. How do we prevent that happening?
Well, that's where the ongoing mentoring and coaching is, just to make people not come up with new things sometimes. It's about you've made some decisions that came out of, say, a course. How do we put those into place? How do we actually make sure that we're going to get the return on that?
Creel, thank you so much for your insights. It's been great.
It's been great to be here. Thanks, Tara.
It's always great to hear from someone who's been there and done it. Creel has given us some great advice whether you're starting, growing or trying to exit a business. Creel, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
It's been awesome. Thanks, Tara.